This video is sponsored by The Chosen Prime. Link in the description down below. You know, just having this figure in hand just brings back so many memories from my childhood. Man, I crapped my pants a lot as a kid. What's going on, everybody? S.L.B coming at you with another review. Today we are taking a look at Super 7 Jackalman. Okay, so before we get into the figure, we're going to take a quick look at the packaging. So we got this boring ass brown cardboard box, Thundercats logo on the front with Jackalman underneath it, Super 7 logo in the bottom right corner. Hey, ages 14 and up. You know, companies never mention if it's intended for ages 14 and up physically or mentally, because mentally I'm 10. Fart jokes. Nothing on the bottom or both sides. Back has your warning about sticking small parts in your mouth. I would not recommend doing that. So this isn't the official packaging that this figure comes in. If you open it up, you can pull out, giggity, this polished glossy box with Mumra's logo on the front with the Thundercats logo beneath that. The top has Super 7's ultimate logo. The back has a much bigger Thundercats logo, but wait, there's more. It's a slip cover. When you take the cover off in an oh so satisfying way, ooh, you see Jackalman encased in a plastic penitentiary that is just begging you to rip him out. Patience. Patience. The top of this packaging again has that Super 7 Ultimates logo, and the back has, guess what? Nope, not the Thundercats logo again. There you see a beautiful art of the Thundercats minus Wily kit. That's kind of a bummer. Also a brief bio for Jackalman. I'll read it for you now, but if you don't want to hear it, just skip ahead. Not till the end of the video, just after I read the bio here. Loyalty is very important to Jackalman. Unfortunately, he's only loyal to himself. As a member of the mutants, enemies of the Thundercats, Jackalman leads the Jackalmen, a group of humanoid jackals from the planet Plundar. Jackalman's real name is Kanar, and regardless of his name, there's no question that this scavenger is a conniving coward whose intentions can never be trusted, except when it comes to him using any means possible to destroy the Thundercats. So Jackalman here comes with a plethora of accessories. It is not what you would call an overabundance, but enough to give you options. Let's just get the additional hands out of the way first because we're going to need them later on with the other accessories. Ooh, foreshadowing. So normally what I'm used to is a closed fist and an open, relaxed hand. However, Super 7 gives you additional grabby hands. I can only describe it as one of those set of hands is for a tight grip, whereas the other set is for a more loose grip. Don't let your eyes deceive you though. The loose grip hands aren't really meant for holding the weapons. You can if you want, but it won't be a tight grip. I think the secondary hands are more for a jumping at you and trying to grab or choke you, like when your sister steals your apple juice while you're trying to watch Thundercats as a kid. Yay, repressed memories. Taking the hands in and out is pretty tough because that peg is really in there pretty tight. I would heed some caution putting in another hand. The peg isn't really that sturdy of material, so don't break it. Speaking of sturdy material, let's take a look at the 3 blasters that are included with Jackalman. You get 2 handguns and a rifle that are all made out of a thick plastic and painted very nicely. Each one has the same paint on them, but they are placed in different areas on each gun. Now, each gun doesn't have an actual name, so I'm going to wing it here. Let me know in the comments section down below if you know the actual names of the firearms. Gun A has a very dull gray paint to the body, although maybe it's just my eyes, but I detect a hue of purple on them. Some of the molded bits have this sparkly silver paint to it that really just makes it pop. Gun B is completely covered in the same shiny silver paint and is molded nicely. Lastly, the rifle has the same paint scheme as Gun A. However, that purple color is more noticeable in the body of the rifle. The silver paint is on there to break up the mold, and it's also on the body grip and muzzle of the rifle. Moving on to the 2 melee weapons, they are in fact Jackalman's more iconic weapons, his club and battle axe. The club is molded fantastically and the paint is top notch. That brown paint used against the mold gives it a really bludgeoning bludgeoning feel to it, like Jackalman just took a giant tree branch and sculpted it to make a club to bash some skulls in. There is some black paint used for a tooth or claw at one end, and that will definitely leave someone with some brain damage if struck with it. The battle axe has a rough feel to it, which gives the look of, again, someone just taking a long piece of wood and making a spear out of it. If you look close enough, you can make out molded dips and grooves in the material. For the actual axe portion, it is painted in silver and the mold is outstanding. If you brush your fingers along the blade, you get indentations to give it a kind of, oh, I've been through some wars battle damage. Each melee weapon can be held in Jackalman's tight grip hands. Be mindful of the club though. You have to finagle the handle of the club into the hand. The last accessory is an additional head for the figure. It is painted similarly to the default head, however, this has more of an angry look in the eyes and the mouth is wide open like it's screaming, "Give me back my apple juice." Sorry. Once you open that door, it's really hard to get those memories back in. Replacing the head is pretty standard way of swapping out heads, ball and socket. I will say that putting the head back on takes some force, so be careful. You don't want to break that peg that holds the head in place. Now that the accessories are out of the way, let's get a look at the figure as a whole. First, let's replace the head with the default head. And now we can soak this in for a second. The painting and sculpt work on Jackalman is great. Mismatched fur colors to kind of break it up. The leopard arm guard has a bit of a texture to it. The shoulder and ankle armor are smooth to differentiate it from the fur. They even painted his toenails. Who knew Jackalman liked to get pedicures? The leather straps that hold his shoulder armor has a different texture to it, so you don't confuse it with his fur. Proportionally, it seems a bit off to me. At first glance, I thought his ab section is too long or his legs were too short. It seemed off to me at first, then it hit me. This figure is based off an 80s cartoon and the animation is always screwy. Once you throw that out the door, he looks great. Articulation is okay. I mean, it is mainly completely out of plastic, so over time the joints will loosen. There are a few things that do hinder his mobility, and that is the shoulder pad over his left shoulder and his fur over his right shoulder and his loincloth. Having Jackalman next to other action figures in my collection, I think that this is the beginning of a great friendship. Is that too lame to say? I really don't have much to say about this figure. This is my first foray into Super 7, so the bar has been set at what I would say is okay. It's not Marvel Legends Cannibal terrible, and it's not SH Figuarts Scarlet Witch great. The articulation is kind of a letdown for me. I get that Jackalman is this big muscular character. I do wish though he had butterfly joints in his shoulders to give him that bigger range of movement. It would have been nice to get his shoulders and his arms in place to where he can grab the axe or the club like this and give it that, slashing final blow. Maybe also I would use a softer plastic for the fur and shoulders just to give him a wider range of mobility. Don't get me wrong, I like the look and sculpt of Jackalman. It really does bring me back to my childhood. Isn't that why we collect what we collect, just to relive our childhood? I have said it in my Transformers reviews. Holding this figure in my hand, I feel like that kid again, minus the crapping of my pants. So that is my review for Super 7 Thundercats Jackalman. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Leave a comment in the comments section down below. I'd like to thank my sponsor for this video, The Chosen Prime. You can shop thousands of figures, earn points on every purchase, anything over $150. It's free shipping, especially when you get an entire wave of Super 7 Thundercats. Trust me, it pays off. I'll put a link to all of the Chosen Prime social media in the description down below. I'll also put a link to my social media in the description down below, so you can hit me up on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Links to everything, again, description down below. This is S.L.B, and this has been my review of Super 7 Thundercats Jackalman, and this is S.L.B saying, now that I think about it, I think my sister finally did give me back apple juice, but I think she's spitting it.